Okay guys, so I wanted to do an update video about a specific YouTuber that was making the rounds on YouTube for some very bad behavior earlier this year. Specifically, I'm talking about Erik Conover. If you don't know who he was a very large, multi-million subscriber YouTube channel who covered a bunch of like high-end real estate, like luxury homes and apartments, specifically in New York, but also around the world. Very successful. I had watched many of his videos as well. But in March, I believe, March of this year, he was arrested for attempted murder, among other things. Now, a lot of the big YouTubers covered it, Penguin Zero, all those guys. I thought about making a video, but everyone jumped on the story right away, and I don't really like making a video when everyone else has already covered it. But now I wanted to check in, now that it's months later, because I was back in March of this year, what happened to Erik Conover? Is he, did he plead guilty? Is he still facing all the charges? Everything like that. So I decided to do a little digging in the case, and it turns out just recently he was actually charged, and they decided not to charge him with attempted murder. So that was the initial charge that they had put forth, and the court, for whatever reason, they decided not to go forward with that. They said the state did not move forward with the attempted murder charge. As of now, it will not be part of the case. The state presented the charges that it believes were best supported by the evidence. Now, the attempted murder charge goes back to in March. He was, if you don't know the whole story, Erik Conover, he had been posting some things on his like personal Instagram page. People started to look into, and apparently he had been on some type of medication, either for like bipolar disorder or schizophrenia, something like that. And he had decided to stop taking his medication, and he went kind of on this downward spiral. There was people talking about him on Reddit. He was going around like trying to fight people and stuff. And eventually he was pulled over by cops, I believe in Maryland, and he decided he wanted to leave. And so he ended up ramming the cop car, pushed it about 30 feet. And so that's the ultimate reason why they decided to charge him with attempted murder. But the prosecution decided to just charge him with lesser charges, because obviously they want to, win the case. And I guess they didn't feel they could really get the attempted murder charge across. Now, the actual counts he's still facing are quite extensive. He is facing a Class B felony count of disobeying an officer, a Class B second-degree assault charge with extended term of imprisonment, Class A felony first-degree assault charge, and 2 counts of Class B felony reckless conduct with extended terms of imprisonment, and a Class B felony conduct after an accident charge. Now, all of those together, collectively, I think he can face upwards of about 30 years in prison. So, it's good for him. The attempted murder charge is gone, but he's still facing a very, very long time in prison. Now, most likely he won't actually get 30 years. What will most likely happen, they try and throw everything at them, and then they'll try and get like a plea deal later. And they might try and get him like, to plead guilty to some lesser charges, and he'll get like 5 to 10 years of prison or something like that. Now, one thing I want to bring up is a lot of people, in his initial court appearing way back when this happened in March, he seemed very, I guess crazy would be the word to describe him. He's talked about how he's going to eviscerate everyone with his intelligence.
If anyone dares try to test my mental competence, I will eviscerate every single person with my intelligence right now. And
he's like Charles Xavier from Logan. His intelligence is so supreme, he can blow us away with a single thought.
So it looked like this guy was a bit crazy, a bit off his rocker. And it turns out that he can't actually use the insanity defense. The local news covered it, so I'll show a clip of that and you can see why.
Court documents reveal Conover underwent an evaluation. A court granted him 30 days in a mental health facility, and they determined he is competent to stand trial. Now the state is objecting to an expedited bail hearing, citing those conversations with his parents while he was in jail.
The state is asking the court to deny Erik Conover's request for an expedited bail hearing and treat his mental health crisis claims with skepticism after conversations the state says Conover had with his parents while he was behind bars. During phone calls Conover made from the Carroll County House of Corrections, the state says Conover told his father he had a plan to get out of jail, saying, quote, mental health crisis is our go-to. The state says Conover also told his father, quote, The route we take, I will fake this mental illness thing because you are gaslighting me into thinking I am not intelligent. The court documents say Conover asked his mother during a different call to use ChatGPT to develop an email with an attorney titled "YouTuber Has Mental Health Crisis." The state says Conover then said to his mother, quote, "If you do a PR thing on a mental health crisis, you know what that makes people feel? Empathy. And you can't hate people you feel empathetic towards." Legal expert Patricia LaFrance says the state has a strong case.
I would assume any claims of a mental health crisis would be looked at with skepticism because it appears that he has perpetrated a fraud on the court. That's very damning evidence that the prosecutor has in terms of the defendant claiming that he was in a mental health crisis at the time.
So what a lot of people may not know is I believe in most jurisdictions, I'm sure in some counties it isn't true, but in most jurisdictions, if you call from the, you make a phone call from police headquarters, or you do one of those things where you're talking to someone while you're in jail through the, through the window or something like that, the police can record those conversations. And so that's what happened in this case. Erik Conover got caught talking to his parents, being like, "Hey, we're going to go with the insanity defense. People are going to feel bad for me if they think I'm not mentally here. And so that's what we'll go with. We'll plead insanity and I'll get off," right? The police recorded all that. And so there's no chance he's going to get that now. They actually, sent him to a psych ward for evaluation. They said he was fit to stand trial. He was competent. So the whole insanity plea or anything related to that is completely off the table at this point. So yeah, it's not looking good for Erik Conover. I do think that he, like I said, I don't think he'll get like the full 25, 30 years that he's facing. But because the insanity plea, they caught him, trying to concoct this plan, he's in big trouble. He'll probably spend a very long time in prison. His YouTube career is probably permanently over at this point. But let me know in the comments below, what do you think about the whole Erik Conover story? Do you think that he should be, he did seem kind of crazy in the videos that we saw earlier. Do you think that he should have some sort of leeway because obviously he was off his medication? Or is that all his fault because obviously he should have stayed on the medication, and most of this probably wouldn't have happened if he had stayed on whatever medication he was, prescribed by a doctor? Let me know in the comments below.